Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to the Landscape Institute's first webinar. Thank you for your patience and tuning in this morning from wherever you are around the world. I'm now going to use a bit of technology and share my other screen. So let's go over here, and as if by magic, you should be seeing this beautiful screen now. And today we've got Dan Cook, our Chief Executive, Jane Findlay, our President-elect, and me, who looks like he was at a wedding, but trust me, that was an LI event. So today we're going to talk about a number of different things. It's a packed agenda. We're going to share our update on the coronavirus and give you an insight into what the Landscape Institute have been up to for the past few months. So kicking it off is my President's update. Now, if you'd have asked me in January that I'd be doing it via Zoom, I wouldn't have even known what Zoom is. And now I'm a seasoned pro at it, as you can tell. And it was in January, we were celebrating 90 years of the Landscape Institute. And those that were lucky enough to attend would have come to the Landscape Institute Awards, where Sir David Attenborough was made an honorary member and given a Lifetime Achievement Award. I'll chat a little bit more about him later on. So we've carried on at the Institute last year and now via all these different platforms, engaging and collaborating. It's more important than ever before. And you'll see there's a gap at the bottom, because maybe your organisation should be collaborating with us. So if you want to get in touch with either me, Dan or Jane, and let's get chatting. So at the start of the year, I attended the landscape workshop run by Palmstead, by our dear friend Nick Cosworth. Hello Nick, if you're out there. And I think we had about 6 Landscape Institute members speaking all around the climate and biodiversity. And I'll say it now, despite the situation we're in now, we still mustn't forget the action and work we need to do right now and in the future. I then celebrated the best in garden design at the Society of Garden Designers. Hello, if you're in that picture there. It was a wonderful evening, as it always is. We had Richard Sneesby, who is no longer a CMLI, who is now an FLI, and Phil Askew from Peabody, famous for the Olympic Park, give keynote speeches, and it was wonderful. And then you'll recognise that location. That's where I became president back in July 2018. And I've attended a number of events there before the lockdown. One was the relaunch of the book by Kim Wilkie, Led by the Land. Wonderful book. Get yourself a copy if you haven't already. The other one was Living with Beauty. And this was the Building Better, Building Beautiful Commission's report. And the other one was Climate, People, Place and Value from the National Infrastructure Design Group. Right at its core was landscape architecture, and that was our dear friend Andrew Grant and the wonderful Louise Wyman right at the core of putting that together. And there you go, you're going to hear from her in a wee while. There's Romy sat with me. And funnily enough, this was the last in-person physical CPD day back in Bristol that was all about digital communication and how we talk to each other when we can't attend an event. Look, I'm even doing a bit of social distancing there at the bottom left. Yes, that was the last one. We connected with Melbourne in Australia and all over the globe. And that's really been useful, getting the Institute on speed for where we are now. I was delighted to attend the Pro Landscaper Business Awards in February. The winner of the large practice was Terra Firma Consultancy, and the smaller practice was Studio 31. And a shout out to my business partner, Andre, down in Devon on Dartmoor, together with Andre and with the Duchess of Cambridge and so many people across the industry. We won the Collaboration Award for the Back to Nature Garden. This was a treat, going to hear from Pete Udolph and Monty Don. This was at the Royal Geographic Society. He specifically looked at resilient planting using the Highline as his case study. And talking of planting, another person who loves to talk not just about them, but to them, is His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales. Yes, he gave the keynote speech at the Plant Health and Biosecurity Conference that was held at Kew Gardens. And the Institute have supported this. And last year, you may have seen, if you haven't, get on internet, Google Landscape Consultants Toolkit for Biosecurity. It's free, PDF, download it. And we created that in collaboration with the Society of Garden Designers, APL and Barley. So if any of those guys are joining in, thank you very much. It's a really useful piece of work led by the Landscape Institute. So talking of biosecurity, it was interesting. Prince Charles said in that speech, biosecurity, plant biosecurity is really important. And we are now in human biosecurity mode. And if there's ever a time to explain what it means, now is the time, because we are all aware about how a disease can be transferred so quickly. And that is the same with plants and trees. So this year is the International Year of Plant Health. The Institute are supporting this, and later in the year we'll be running a webinar all around this and resilient planting design. So do watch out for that. Now, a few of you may have attended this. This was the Futureville conference at the Excel in London, which is now NHS Nightingale. Who would have thought it? And this was the TDAG breakfast workshop. If you're interested in trees and design, their action group, TDAG, do some great advice online. Again, Google it and you'll find it all on there. There's Keith giving one of his wonderful lectures there. I fast-tracked from there over to the College of Fellows meeting, and this was at the Building Centre, that's where it was, and we welcomed a number of new fellows from the parks managers area, and we'll hear a little bit more about that later on. And I'll use this opportunity to say congratulations and welcome to the new wave of fellows which have arrived. I sent an email out to the membership last night, listed them. I am so chuffed, really pleased, and I've received lots of messages from all of you, so thank you very much indeed. And talking of graduation and certificates, this was the CMLI graduation at the Royal College of Physicians. Wonderfully well turned out. Lots of parents, including my mum. Hello, mum, if you're tuning in. She's been tuning into all these Zoom meetings and confusing lots of people. But yeah, my mum was there, and so were lots of other parents. We've got a really, really healthy split between men and women within our profession. And again, the new generation coming through backs that up. What a wonderful, wonderful speech. Keynote speech from Mary Bowman. They've bagged a brilliant project, which is a new park all underneath the Eiffel Tower. And I'm thinking maybe we need to do one of these Zoom webinars very much around that project, because it is fascinating, really fascinating. And there you go. There's the Excel. That was a really engaging collaboration debate held at the Futureville conference. And yes, as I say, that is now NHS Nightingale. And I'll take this opportunity to share this with you. So I was on a panel there with RIBA, RICS, RTPI, and lots of others from the built construction industry. I was the only one there talking about landscape. And what I realized is that we are the huge, huge solution. They are constantly trying to work out how to reduce their carbon footprint. And do you know how they need to do it? It's dead simple. And this is what I told them here. Appoint a landscape professional at the start of a project, not halfway through and at the end. And do not use the landscape budget as your contingency for new doorknobs or carpet. Landscape needs to be right at the start. So it was a really interesting debate, and we got great interest. And since then, the conversation with all the professional bodies has gone to another level. There we are. Oh, who doesn't love the Friends of the Landscape Archive at Reading? If you've not been, go and have a look when the lockdown's lifted. But if you can't make it, don't worry, because they are showing on a Sunday evening the archive of all the talks they've done. So forget about Antiques Roadshow at 7 o'clock on a Sunday evening. You can video that, tune in 7 o'clock on Sunday evenings and listen to the Landscape Hour. And it is really, really interesting. My favourite highlight this year was the Heroines of Landscape. There were 9 different women from across the profession, some that you'll have never heard of. Really, really worth watching and tuning in for. Talking of women in landscape, Frances Tophill gave a brilliant seminar. Andre and I attended this at Kew, and it was all around community engagement and working with different trusts. Really, really interesting. That Dawlish Garden Trust is the one we've worked with the Back to Nature Garden down in Devon. This was my last physical appearance as president ever, actually. And this was the APL Awards. There's good old Jamie, he hosted the awards. And the numbers were down because we were on the cusp of knowing what was just around the corner. But what a wonderful celebration of the small landscape construction industry, the place where I started my career many, many years ago. And yes, this was the news we got on the Monday. Stay home, protect yourself, protect the NHS. Which led, as we know, to the cancellation of so many huge events that we were all looking forward to. The highlight for me is Chelsea. I was absolutely gutted to hear this, but totally understandable. And my heart and my best wishes go out to the RHS, to the designers, the suppliers, the contractors, the trade stands, everybody involved, because the implications were huge. And we're really looking forward to next year when we'll be back there. However, there has been some positive that's come out of it. Sue Biggs, the Director General, he said, well, she is CBE, announced that the RHS show, they'll be doing a digital online version during Chelsea Week. Only at the weekend, the BBC have announced that they'll be running their shows as per normal, looking back at their archives, and be running the BBC People's Choice Award for the best show garden of the decade. So we'll kind of get our fix as near as we can. And if you're desperate to get to a show, and hopefully all being well, Hampton Court Palace Flower Show Garden will take place, but later in the summer, which will be a really interesting, because obviously those gardens will need a number of different redesigns, including obviously plant specification. And this is really important. I put this in my president's update last night. And the moment we knew that there was very little, if any, support going to the ornamental horticultural industry, we all got together, Barley, APL, SGD, RHS, the Ornamental Roundtable, to write to the government and say they need to act now to save our horticultural industry if it's not too late. So if you have the opportunity to support them, please do. It is so important. They are the backbone of so much of what we all do. And yes, lots of different events have been postponed. I was going to speak at the Earth Summit at Birmingham Uni. We had our landscape conference in Birmingham as well. That's been postponed. And we're supporting IFLA with their World Summit, which has also been postponed. I suppose the biggie for me is Queen in concert at the O2. Really looking forward to attending that. With Gillian, that's not happening. So we're just waiting to find out when it's going to happen. And speaking of Zoom, flipping heck, how many are there? I think I've used 13 different platforms, just about getting my head around one, and you're on another one, and it's totally new again. Dan and I, and Niall, there's Niall, very happy in his gaming chair, the comfiest out of all of us, spoke to the guys in Malaysia about how we can support them in the reorganisation of the IFLA World Congress that was planned to be taking place in August. Updates on that to follow. And yeah, we're all been Zooming, look at that, all over the place. Now, these three things, I thought I'd use this opportunity to promote them if you've not seen them. 8 o'clock on Instagram, Jo Thompson, garden designer, landscape architect. She does a walk every morning at 8 o'clock, and it is a fantastic bit of nature. If you've not seen it, tune in for her live feed. And then at 9 o'clock, you can tune into Chris Packham. He's got his Wild Mornings with Chris, and that's his stepdaughter there. It's absolutely fantastic. And then if you need to re-energise, no better place to go than My Real Garden with Anne-Marie Powell at 12:30. And she is actually regenerating her own garden at home. And it is a really great half hour of fun. So do tune in on Instagram for that. If you're still not sure what to do, the Landscape Institute Journal, which we've overhauled over the last 18 months, is all digitised. You can get links. We'll start sharing more of these via Twitter and Instagram. And they really are worth having a look through the past journals that have gone over the past few years. And then this was in the paper the other day. I'm just going to finish before I hand over to Dan. This was in the Telegraph at the weekend. Really, really great. It was written by Stephanie Mahone, and she interviewed Anna French, John Wyer, Marion Boswell, and myself about what will our parks and gardens look like in 20 years' time. And we had all sorts of predictions and thoughts. So if you'd like to see that, find me on the internet, on Twitter, at Davis_White, and I'll send you the link to it. It's a really interesting read. But for now, that is me handing over seamlessly as I stop sharing. We shouldn't see that. Stop sharing. I'm back in the Davis White HQ. So the man, Mr. Daniel Cook, with his Choose Landscape t-shirt on,
yes,
he's going to give us a little flash of it. There you go.
There you go.
And over to you, Dan.
Thanks, Adam. Just getting my slide deck up. So just hopefully everyone can now see that. Welcome, everyone. And I see we've got more than, I think, 160 odd people tuned in online. So welcome to wherever you are around the world. I know we've got members right across the UK, but also operating in up to 40 countries. So welcome to everyone today. I've got some of the, I suppose, some of the more serious, on a more serious note, some of the responses that we've had to take to this current health pandemic, impacting everyone just about everywhere in this world of ours. As an organisation, I've got to say we've been quite lucky in that our board and our advisory council have really heavily invested in digital investment for the Landscape Institute over the last 3 years. So as an organisation, we've got quite strong business resilience. We already had a remote, all our telephone system was already remotely run. We've got an internal Slack messaging servers. We've got everything on the servers as well in terms of all our file storage. And indeed, every one of us was set up to work from home, which we regularly do as a flexible working employer. But that aside, this actual pandemic has had major impacts on all organisations and the profession itself. So we've had to reorient our events to shifting away from in-person for at least the next 6 months. We've been looking to shift things to webinar like this. So, you know, so far so good.
I've been really busy in policing and influencing, and they've doing some joint work with the Construction Industry Council and the Construction Leadership Council to make asks of the government. And the LI have been seeking clarification on these guidelines with the key government agencies, which is so important to allow people to get out to work, and providing advice to regional government like the Greater London Authority. Dan and Adam have been really busy contacting leaders in the horticultural sector to show our support, because they're having such a bad time during this lockdown, and the horticultural industry looks as though it's going to be very badly affected by this crisis. Have the next one, please, Natasha. And of course, supporting our members is absolutely paramount. And we've been sending regular updates out to you all, giving you links to resources that are online and updating you with the government announcements. And to be able to support you, the LI have undertaken a new member survey to see how the current situation is impacting you and your business. And we will continue to run this several times a year to see how you're all getting on and how we can best plan access to services and support that you will need. The LI are also going to plan concessionary membership and more flexible and deferred payment options for the membership. It's so important. We know there's going to be financial constraints on people as people are taking wage cuts and being furloughed. And we want to turn now to develop proactive, more long-term ideas and plans to recover our sector, for the recovery of our sector to take to government. And I think this is so important that we end up back at work, ready to go, and take advantage of what opportunities might come our way. Oh, now I can't see this terribly well. It's ever so small. I have to put my glasses on to read
I'm back
it.
in the room. I can see it, Jane. Well, we can do it together. So this slide shows the links to the support that's out there from government and from across our sector. So if you go to the Landscape Institute website /COVID-19, they are on there, both the business resources and the human resources. And they actually are really good. And some of the government stuff that's come out recently is really accessible. And we put the links on there. We've been sharing them with SGD, Barley and APL. We had a really nice, really important meeting yesterday with them after the webinar in the morning to talk about how we can collaborate a lot more, providing this information as soon as it's out there, because we are very aware that it's been very confusing for our sector on what you can and can't do, what is out there and what isn't out there. Let's go over to the next slide then. There we go. Now this is a highlight of my presidency, certainly, is our new strengthened partnerships with Perennial. Many of you will know Perennial and the Architects Benevolent Society. We've now signed agreements with them both, and we'll be doing much more work in the future. They are there to support us, our industry, but what I would encourage, if you do have the capacity, is to support them as well. There are lots of opportunities both now and in the future to support these two charities. The web links are there, and I'll share that information a little bit later in my closing remarks. Here we go. So yes, the lunchtime learning, we'll be doing a lot now online, as many people are. Most of it will be free. It'll be open to anybody within the landscape profession. There's Way, one of our board trustees, and we're very lucky that we'd already got a wonderful program of CPD events lined up and keynote speakers lined up. So we're going to carry on doing that. And believe you me, it'll be seamless. And that highlights some of the points and the themes around our lunchtime learning. So we'll be sharing links to that on social media and sending emails out all to the membership. And the College of Fellows there, you can see, are really important. We have a very small number of fellows, and we're increasing that at the moment. And we're going to really tap in to our College of Fellows to support the wider industry, along with other wider membership. Delighted to welcome Laura. Laura is our new Membership Development Manager. She is a landscape architect based in Widnes, so don't hold that against her. And it's wonderful that we're reaching out and bringing in so many more people to support us at times like this. The Parks and Greenspace update. There he is. So you can't see him now, but trust me, that is it. There he is. Dan Cook's there. And this is the work we've been doing. And you can see Jane's involved here. So we'll have a bit of a natter with Jane in a moment around what the LI are doing to support the park sector and the wider green space professionals within the UK. Jane, do you want to say a little bit on this one?
Yeah, can do. We've absolutely delighted to have the opportunity to collaborate with the parks professionals, and this collaboration has the potential to expand the landscape management sector of the LI, recognising that management is so important to the ongoing success of green infrastructure, and particularly the issues of climate change, biodiversity crisis, and of course our health and well-being. So we're thrilled that we're able to have the opportunity to talk to them. Let's hope we can come up with a package to get them on board, and we can all benefit from that.
You know, Jane, I love the fact in that photograph, and she is a new fellow today, and that's Ruth Holmes. And I look at me there, shamelessly just pushing her off her chair to make sure I'm in that photograph. Terrible behaviour from the president. I do apologise. Oh, there they are. They're just some of the organisations that we're building new alliances with. We're already talking to them. And it's really, you know, so important. And where we are now on lockdown, open green spaces and parks, they're important for our exercise every day, but are going to be even more important once lockdown is lifting for our health and well-being. So working together across the UK will be essential. And there you go. I'll hand back over to Jane, because I know we've been chatting about this yesterday.
Right, I need to share my screen now.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do a toggle. Is this going to work?
Let's see if I can do mine.
You've got a bin. Oh, there she. Oh, hey. We're never going to get a job on the one show, are we?
Let's go into full mode. There we go. Okay, so we're really pleased to announce this morning that we are Space's Leadership Forum this year, and these are the senior leaders from the park sector who are going to work with the LI to move this agenda forward. It's fantastic news at a time when parks are being recognised by the public and by politicians, most importantly, as central to our health and well-being in the environment. So it's fabulous, and I would like to wish them all we can help in any way. We'd be more than delighted to. So moving swiftly on, the Institute have been very busy on a number of exciting initiatives, which I'm going to update you on. First of all, we've got the Landscape Apprentice Scheme. This allows employers to recruit, train landscape professionals with the support of network of educators, and effectively allowing people to be trained on the job. There are two levels of apprenticeship. There's level 3, which is which leads to the new professional grade of landscape technician. This is a 2-year program, and the apprenticeship standards and assessment plan has been approved. Funding is in place, and it's ready for delivery either later this year or very early next year. And it also includes e-learning programs for extended geographic reach. So it means that everybody has the opportunity to train for this. The second apprenticeship is the level 7, which leads to chartered landscape professional. It's already been approved. Assessment plan has yet to be submitted, which is and approval is expected shortly. And this hopefully will go in 2021. For this project, the LI has created the Landscape Employer Trailblazer Group with over 20 employers, including myself, and we've been able to influence and model the shape of apprenticeships to suit the wide range and various needs of the various practices in the UK and overseas. The LI has also created an early adopters education group and also be providing guidance and support to the candidates. And once the apprenticeships are up and running, the LI will also provide support to the employers, and this will most likely be through our new webinar programme. I'm really excited about this scheme, which will help to boost landscape education and address our skill shortages. And we at FIRE are really looking forward to recruiting our first apprentices. I hope that will be later this year. So next, I can update you on the High Streets Taskforce. This initiative will be of interest to those of you who are involved in urban design and placemaking. The High Streets Taskforce is a government-funded 5-year project designed to support high streets regeneration and revitalisation. It's a fabulous project, and the LI is one of 4 professional bodies responsible for recruiting experts for the programme. It's an England-based scheme, but there's nothing to stop our members in other places applying to be part of this programme. Just to update you where we are at the moment, as you know, the high street has been very badly affected by the coronavirus, so this project has taken on a new urgency. The HSTF are looking to bring in immediate action to help the coordination of the coronavirus response in city centres across England. There will be a recruitment this year of a pool of experts, including our members, which is this news. This is underway, and it's a great opportunity for you all to get involved. The expert will provide advice and help transform the high streets. There will be online and in-person training and access to the latest research and best practice, which is so important. And already local areas are bidding for investment in the £1 million fund. So there are a number of project partners led by the Institute of Place Management and Manchester Metropolitan Uni, working in partnership with professional bodies, including the LI, and it's a brilliant example of how the LI is able to take part in this project. So next steps, we need expert LI members, and that means you, who would like to play a part in this initiative, to apply by the 24th of April. Details can be found on the LI. There's a link on this slide. And if this has piqued your interest, the LI this afternoon are hosting a webinar at 4 p.m. for any interested applicants. Again, there is some information on the slide. So that's all from me, unless of course Dan hasn't come back. Lots of exciting news, and I think we have a few minutes now to take some questions. If I just move to this slide.
There we go.
Thank you.
We have got Dan back. He's dialed in using his phone. Apparently there was an issue with the Wi-Fi in his area of Brixton. So we've had a question from Samantha Park, Jane. I do feel like a TV presenter now. How do we get involved in the High Street Task Force?
Right, well, the way to do it is through the panel of experts. So if I go back to the previous slide, if you've got any of those bullet points down the right hand side, if you are able to deliver any of those capabilities, you will have the skills to be able to help with the High Streets Task Force. And I suggest that it would be worth dialing in this afternoon to the LI webinar, where you can hear more about. And then there's application details on the LI website for you to put forward yourselves to be selected as one of the LI panel members. And then, of course, when a project comes up, the appropriate panel members will be brought together to go and advise that particular high street or that particular city centre. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity. Is that enough for you?
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Textbook, Jane, absolute textbook. No, that is, and I think the webinar this afternoon is the perfect place to tune in for, because obviously that will be seamless. And did I hear the dulcet tones of Dan Cook? Was he back with us then?
Yeah, thanks. And I'm going to just not use my video to not use the bandwidth on my phone, Adam. But I would just say that getting out and engaging with high streets once we're through lockdown would be a really important thing for many members who have those skills in urban design to do in any case, because they're going to need help. They're going to need to rethink their spaces. And I think it's something that many of our members could assist with, both these government funded programs, which, you know, top in excess of £1 billion worth of investment into high streets, but also those high streets are going to need a lot of help to rebuild and rethink what their future is going to be. So I think our members have fantastic skills. It'll help bring nature back into our cities and towns as well. So do get out there and engage with place managers, because there's a lot of work to be done in the years ahead here.
Right, so if I stop sharing my screen.
Hello, there you are, full screen, Jane.
Yeah.
Hello to the Midlands.
Hello.
So the question's just come in there. Can a landscape technician transfer to become a landscape architect?
Yes, indeed they can, Adam. It can be a destination qualification, or it could be a stage to entering the level 7, the chartered member qualification. So it's a brilliant way of achieving chartership as a landscape architect. And if you don't want to go all the way, you can stop at the chartered landscape technician level.
Great, really, really great. I think that, you know, the High Streets Taskforce and the apprenticeship scheme are going to be two great assets for our profession moving forwards when we come out of this crisis and start to take that really important role that we've always had, but never more so important. Okay, I'm now going to do a little bit of jiggery pokery and find out how I do this. Here we go. So I think I should mention to everybody that you lucky people, this is being filmed. So if you want to watch it again, you'll be able to catch it on the LI campus. If you want any of these presentations without us waffling over the top of them, we can circulate them to any of you. So, okay, now gonna do a bit of sharing my screen and tell you a little bit about LI Campus, which is our new, I've called it the Netflix of the landscape profession, or, you know, I did start calling it, so why don't we call it LI Player? I didn't get many votes for that. I thought it was a great idea, but no, it didn't really, so we went with LI Campus is what we've gone with. So there we go. And I'm now going to tell you a little bit about it. Okay, seamlessly, there we go, everybody. So the LI Campus, if you've not seen it, we launched it a couple of weeks ago, and it's available any member of the Landscape Institute. It's free access. I was really keen on this, is that during this time when everything's tough for everybody, if you're a member of the Institute, you can go on, register, but you must do it by the end of June, and then it'll be free for 12 months. If you're not a member of the Landscape Institute, you can join at licentiate member, academic, there's lots of different levels. So just type Landscape Institute membership or get in touch with me on social media and I'll send you the link. And it's great. We've got over 80 hours of footage that we've recorded over the last 3 years. We're going to carry on uploading. The reason why we waited is to make sure we had a real healthy content. The Sir David Attenborough talk from the awards, that's on there. And lots of other CPD training events. It is a wonderful asset. And I think it's the only one, certainly in the UK, and I've not found one anywhere around the world. So if you're involved in an organisation and you film things, get in touch. We're happy to partner. Let's get it on here and let's share what we all do with a much wider, bigger audience. And none of this would be possible without our sponsors, as ever. And I'm delighted today to welcome them from all over the UK. And I'm now going to go in full Eurovision style. I'm going to Green Blues. Howard, are we there? Can I hear you, Howard? Mute yourself. I'll maybe try and see.
Yeah, hello, Adam. Yeah,
hello.
I'm here.
Beautiful bookcase you've got there.
Aye, all my knowledge.
Oh, yes. So what I thought I'd do is just take this opportunity to speak to you guys and say, is there one thing that was recorded over the last few years, or is there one thing, because I know you've all visited and had a go on it, that you think will benefit our profession?
That's a good question, Adam. I've had to spend quite a bit of time going through the campus. I think it's a brilliant resource. It is accessible 24/7, and there's some really, really good stuff on there. I'm afraid I'm a bit simple, but I just keep re-listening to David Attenborough's speech because I found it just so enthusing. Responsibility is on us to provide sustainable, resilient places for the future. If we don't do it, we'll be responsible in the future. So just take a look at that. Give us a few minutes of just looking at that video, and you'll find that it gives you fresh impetus to go and change the world. Thank you very much, Adam.
Really great point. It is wonderful. It's the first film on there when you go onto LI campus. Okay, let's go to Bolton's finest. Let's go to Hardscape. We've got Matt there and we've got Dave. Let's go to Matthew. Hello, Matthew. Piece of your, you have to demute yourself. In the meantime, just look at that piece of artwork on his wall. He did that himself. It's beautiful.
I did.
A very talented geologist and artist. Hello, Matthew.
How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
You've been holding it all together there, Adam. Well, thanks very much, everyone. It was about 18 months ago, actually, when Andy Morris came to see me and said, we're thinking about setting up an LI Netflix. And it got called Campus, which was great. We're all about collaboration at Hardscape. I think you all know that. And fortuitously now, bearing in mind the situation we're in with not actually being able to see one another, having this vehicle where everybody can tap into information resource. So it was just perfect timing for us. Education is really a highbrow word for what we're doing all day in our daily lives at Hardscape, and this was therefore a great vehicle for spreading the word. I think also with the apprenticeship scheme, that was another thing that Andy mentioned, that getting in front of the apprentices was such a great vehicle, and we're honoured to be involved. I know that Dave Lowe's got a few words to add to that, Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Good
nice
morning.
branding behind you there. That's very subtle.
Very corporate, eh?
Yeah, they've all missed a trick there, haven't they, with their virtual backgrounds?
Well, look, I just want to really echo the words that the presenters have said, and also Matthew there and Howard, that it's been a massive honour to be involved in the creation of Campus. And I think the thing that I find really exciting about it is now to have this central platform where we can talk to so many industry professionals at once, connecting practices across the UK. I particularly love talking about paving. I know there's attendees I recognise out on the list today that know me, know I love doing that. But don't forget that whilst we may be at home and isolated away, there's still questions from clients and curiosity that needs to be answered, needs to be satisfied. So let's keep communicating. I think that's incredibly important. And this campus gives us that opportunity, really, where we've got all these separate conversations. They can now be distilled down together to form these Meet the Expert type webinars. Live stream them. You can download them at your convenience, nice cup of coffee or a glass of wine. And I think it's a fantastic educational resource, Adam.
Yeah, wonderful. It is great. And I would encourage everybody to take a look at it if you've not already. So let's go to Martin, who's on my left on my screen at Vectorworks. Hi, Martin. You have to unmute yourself, spacebar or press something, I think. Oh,
I had one job to do and I failed to do it. Unmute myself. How are you?
Very well, thank you very much. This is an experience, to say the least, and it'll go in my memory bank of my presidency. And I'm handing over to Jane in July to take over as president. And she's praying we're not on lockdown then, and we're doing more physical communication, I would have thought. So, Martin, you've been involved in this. Tech is your background. What's the highlight of LI Campus, and why did you choose to support it?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I've been involved with the Landscape Institute. Vectorworks has been involved with the Institute for many years. I've been involved in the BIM working group. A couple of years ago, here's a plug. We produced there you go. There's my virtual background not working. the BIM landscape book. And at the time, we talked about, should we be doing a book or should we be making this a digital vehicle? At the time we went for the book. It wasn't quite the right time to go digital, but I think now absolutely perfect timing for where we are and for moving things forward. And we all want to get back to being able to see each other face to face and talking from that point of view. But I think if we look at benefits, one thing that's come out from this whole event is that it has driven forward, that we can work digitally to a certain percentage of our time. And campus, that's a great vehicle for pushing all that digital working forward. And I'm biased, but I'm looking forward to the CPD days that we've been involved with and seeing the presentations from the variety of different people that are presenting on those days, from both our users and also from some of our team at Vectorworks. We've got 3 webinars, I think, lined up over the next couple of months that our team's been working on. So we're delighted to sponsor and support this initiative.
Yeah, I mean, a couple have mentioned it already. There couldn't be a more pertinent time for us to launch LI Campus. And what I think one of the highlights for me is our membership. We got 10% globally, and I know a few have tuned in no matter what time zone they're in at the moment. And we've got members that are in remote locations all over the UK. This will allow them not to miss out on some of these great CPD events that take place. So I'm going to hang over to my other side of my screen, and we could be going to Norway, but we're not. I think we're going to the Midlands. Hi, Romy.
Hello, I'm up there for you.
Oh, you're up there on me. All right.
I'm speaking from sunny Stratford upon Avon, so relatively remote, to be honest. Not quite as remote as Oslo, but but good Wi-Fi here, so that's all great.
And you've been involved in this. You're very aware of LI Campus. So, from a Vestra point of view, what do you see as the top 3 benefits of it to our profession?
Ooh. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll try and get 3. Yeah. Well, anyone who knows us, who's ever looked at our website or had a catalogue, will be aware of our framework of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which we base our business plan around. And there's lots of information about all of the things we do. If you want to find out more, search it out. But for us, one of the SDGs that we report on and support is number 4, which is quality education. And essentially the 3 points really that I'd like to make are that in the view of the United Nations, education should be inclusive, which I believe campus is. I can even catch up from Stratford upon Avon. Accessible, as you said, anybody, anywhere, any time of the day and night, whether we're on lockdown or not, fully accessible to all of our members and beyond. And it should support lifelong learning, which obviously the whole principle of CPD and all of the work that we do around that, the offerings of CPD days and now webinars and online training, this facilitates all of those things. So I think it's really important for us, and we look forward to being full members, taking advantage of all of the opportunities that are to come. I'm sure there are some that we haven't even investigated yet. So really exciting, and I look forward to seeing people hopefully taking part in those webinars as they're rolled out over the coming months.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely going to be a popular resource. And for those that are watching now, you can see that is the link to it there. We've already touched on some of these key points that, it's been 3 years in the making. It's been developed with great collaboration and partnership across the industry. And it will continue to get better. This is just the start, really. So let's all have a look at it and contribute to it. And like I say, you've got until June the 30th. So do, in the next couple of days, make sure that you've not forgotten and leave it too late to get your free access for the next 12 months. And then after then, we're looking at how it'll be minimal cost. Basically, I think almost like one attendance at one CPD day will be the LI Campus cost, and it'll be part of your membership fee. So a great resource for all of us. So, okay, I don't know if Dan is still there. Have we got Dan?
Yeah, hi Adam. Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can, yeah. I can hear you.
Just go on, boys. I just wanted to say as well on LI campus that one of the really important things of it was that it was built in-house by our team. And Lewis and Amina and Andy Morris and Ruella, and obviously all of you who've spoken at our events and contributed to our events. And it was totally built, and it was actually above and beyond our investment in digital. We did it within existing resources as an add-on. It wasn't part of our original digital project, but nonetheless, I think it's going to be a fantastic resource for members wherever they're based, and also, to Romy's point, making learning much more accessible for all going forward. And we know from when we analyse where our members live, quite often you're out in more remote locations. So there's some really, really important access there that for the first time we can reach all our members, not just those who have the time or those who live in major centres. So yeah, really important change. And if people have content or we're up for partnerships and new organisations to help provide content as well. So get in touch with the team if you want to become part of it and help create content for the future.
Yeah, really good points there, Dan. And do get in touch. This is a member-led organisation, and you guys are the members, and we want to be as open and inclusive as possible. So if you're not a member, still get in touch. We're all one part member of the Landscape family, as I've said a number of times during my presidency. So if you really enjoyed this and you're thinking, wow, what a fantastic Tuesday morning, what am I going to do in a few weeks' time? May the 12th, we've got another leadership webinar. If anything, tune in to see if we're any better. But there will be a number of different items of discussion. The big one, I guess, is the LI Awards this year, 2020. Dan, do you want to say a couple of words on that?
Yeah, I think we highlighted this at the awards itself. Where coming up for this year, we've got some new categories themed around people, place and nature. And through all of our awards this year, those principles of the Climate and Biodiversity Emergency Declaration are going to weave through all of our awards going forward. So we've been working with members across the Institute to sharpen up and make our awards a bit more outcomes focused. There's still going to be some of the landscape discipline ones there as well, but we hope that everyone will enjoy the new categories. And with a bit more time at home over the next couple of months, we hope people have the time to enter the awards and get celebrating the excellence that exists in landscape. So yeah, sort of important there. I think the other point is we've been working really hard, and during May we'll be running a consultation on the updated skills framework. So we'll give an update on that ahead of the main period of consultation. And we've also been working with IFLA on some updating our ethical principles for the profession globally, and also our own code of practice, taking account of all those climate commitments. So I think some really important topics there on the May event, and know how important these topics are to many of our members.
Yeah, and I think what's really important, because the awards will look slightly different this year, it's worth tuning in if you're thinking of entering. So we can do a bit of a Q&A around it, the new categories, the approach, which is a far more an outward celebration to the wider industry and to society about what the landscape profession do. And one of those announcements, if you join us next time, which I'm really looking forward to sharing with you, is a Sir David Attenborough announcement. Well, we've got a couple actually, which is really cool. So tune in next time and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And if you are at home and you're homeschooling, this is probably the best time for me to share this with you, is that you have a new geography school teacher. And if you've not seen this, Sir David Attenborough is doing 6 geography lessons with BBC Bite Size on an afternoon. I think the first one was yesterday. There's one this afternoon. What a geography teacher to have. And if your kids are interested in science and astrology, Professor Brian Cox is doing them. They've got a number of different people to help you out with homeschooling. So do take a look. And you can see there that it was postponed, one of the many things that was postponed, which was the premiere of David Attenborough, A Life on Our Planet. It's supposed to be at the Albert Hall and streamed to cinemas all over the UK. We'll let you know when we hear when that date is and let you know more about that as it happens. We've touched on it a couple of times today, and we're going to go through it in May. So tune in again and that is our climate crisis and biodiversity emergency declaration. But most importantly, the action plan that goes with it, because that is what we all need to look at. Yes, we've got to adjust to working from home and tackle this virus, but also it is business as usual. We must not forget how important it is to tackle this emergency. And there's a number of ways we're going to do it through the LI, which is our action plan, which will be action-led, and that will be CPD and training to upskill our membership. Something I'm excited about, working with Andy Morris, is a new program of webinars around resilient planting design, because it's at the core of what we do. And I mentioned it earlier, horticulture is something many of us are passionate about, and so is support of each other. We've touched on this, so do take a look and see where you can help support these two wonderful charities. I'm bringing a little bit of sunshine and light to the conclusion of this webinar. I'd like to share with you two initiatives. One is called Plot on a Plate. So if you've got a plate, all it has to be is 30 centimetres wide, a maximum of 6 centimetres deep, and you can design a landscape, a park or a garden on a plate, and it's the Chelsea Physic Garden that are running this. So just look for hashtag Plot on a Plate. Why don't you look at your latest design or your favourite scheme that never got built and create a mini version of this? It goes hand in hand with the Choose Landscape campaign to inspire the next generation to join us. So do have a look. The winners are going to be judged. It's all around the same time as Chelsea, so you haven't got a great deal of time. But we'd love to see the entries from our members and their kids, families and friends. There's professionals, amateurs, and then children and teenagers. They're the 4 categories. And you may have seen this on the Tinternet, and we're really promoting it. We're working with the London College of Garden Design. So hello to Andrew and Andrew, or any of the students, any of the lecturers from there. We've been running this project and this competition, Grow Happy Sunflower Challenge. If you want some free sunflower seeds, you can just get in touch and we'll get them sent out to you. We want to cover the UK with sunflowers, bring a bit of happiness to our streets, but then think about all the positives that come from them, for wildlife, for photography, for children, for art. The benefits are endless. And again, it goes hand in hand with our Choose Landscape campaign. And even at times, as sad and worrying as this, there are rays of hope. And that is Sophie Fern McDermott from Yorkshire there, our youngest Choose Landscape ambassador. So if you do want a t-shirt, a sticker, you do want to support this campaign and help to continue to reconnect people, place and nature, do get in touch, and we'd love to get you involved. So we're almost done. I'm saying thank you. I'm going to turn this off so you can see us all. Ta-da! Back on the screen. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for being patient. This is all new to all of us. We're far better at landscape architecture and landscape professional work than being TV stars. But we do want you to keep joining us. We will run lots of these in the future. And remember, it's very, very easy, Romy, to grow a sunflower. It's incredibly easy. So we want you to all plant your sunflowers and share them with us on social media. So I don't know if Jane or Dan have got anything to say on conclusion. I will hand the floor to both you two. Jane?
Thanks, Adam. All I can say is I really like your new hairdo.
Oh, my new haircut. I did this with herb scissors last night. I won't show you the back. I made a right mess of it.
I thought you used secateurs, but never mind. But no, it's been great to join everybody. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Cheers, Jane. Thank you very much. And Dan's back with us. Hello, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Sorry for my internet dropping out, but I was endeavouring to upgrade today. But thanks for so many people joining. We've endeavoured to answer as many questions that you've made as possible online. But if there's anything that is still outstanding, do drop us a note to either policy@landscapeinstitute.org or membership@landscapeinstitute.org. And if there's any unanswered questions to anyone out there, me or the team will get back to you. And this is a really good way to engage. There's some great questions out there. And we've got a lot of, even though we're in lockdown, there's a lot of exciting things to get involved with this year. So we really need your help and involvement as we move forward this year. So we look forward to doing more of these. Yeah. And thanks all for tuning in. And also big thanks to Natasha and the team and Andy and the team for putting this together behind the scenes. They do a lot of behind the scenes work. You won't see them on here, but nonetheless, we've got a great team supporting this.
Tell you what we'll do next time is we'll make them turn their cameras on so they can say hello to everybody. And anyone that's posted a question in the chat, we will look through this afterwards and we'll make sure we get back to each and every one of you with any update that you want. So if you think of a question after this, there's loads of ways you can get in touch with us at Talk Landscape, me at Davis_White, and we'll make sure that we let you know whatever that response might be. But from all of us here, thank you to our sponsors, thank you to Jane, thank you to Dan, and thank you most importantly for all of you tuning in this morning. Go out and grow a sunflower, and we'll see you in a few weeks' time. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.